Today, we're going to decode how modern data platforms take this messy flood of raw information and forge it into something genuinely valuable, AI-ready, governed, and intelligent data. So let's jump right in and follow the data to see how it's all done.
Pretty much every organization out there is sitting on a mountain of data. But here's the real question. How do you actually turn all that chaos into a real competitive advantage? What if you could build a kind of factory that reliably transforms raw, messy data into trusted, intelligent assets for AI? Well, that's the promise we're going to explore today.
For the longest time, this has been a massive challenge. Companies were basically stuck between a rock and a hard place. On one side, you had the data warehouse. It was fast, it was reliable, but man, was it rigid. You had to define the structure up front, what's called schema on right, and it really only played nice with neat, structured data. On the other side, you had the data lake. It was super flexible, it could handle any kind of data, but because the structure was only applied when you tried to read it, it was often slow, unreliable, and would quickly turn into a messy data swamp. You had to pick your poison, speed or flexibility.
But what if you didn't have to choose? What if you could get the best of both worlds? Well, that's the whole idea behind the lake house architecture. And it's not a compromise. It's a true fusion. It brings the rock-solid structure and performance of a warehouse directly to the low-cost, super flexible storage of a data lake.
So what this really means is you get one single unified system, one place to put all your data, structured, unstructured, streaming, you name it, and run every kind of workload you can think of, from old-school business analytics to cutting-edge machine learning, all without having to move or duplicate a single thing.
So how does this actually work in practice? How does the platform take all that raw, messy data and turn it into polished gold? The core concept here is a journey, a refining process that's known as the medallion architecture. Let's follow the data and see what happens. This journey happens in 3 distinct stages. It all starts at bronze. This is just a raw, unfiltered copy of the source data, exactly as it arrived. Think of it as your insurance policy. From there, it moves to the silver layer. This is where we clean it up, validate it, and enrich it. And finally, it reaches the gold layer. This is the good stuff, aggregated, business-ready data that's perfect for analytics and AI. With each step, the value, and more importantly, our trust in the data just keeps growing.
Now, just getting data into that first bronze layer used to be a huge headache. You'd have to manually keep track of which files were new, which ones you'd already processed, what the data structure looked like. It was a mess. Autoloader automates all of that. It's like an intelligent, tireless gatekeeper for your data lake. For any data engineers out there, this is a total game changer. It automatically figures out the structure of your incoming data, even if that structure changes over time. It guarantees no data is ever missed or processed twice, and it can scale to handle millions of incoming files without anyone having to lift a finger. Okay, so data is flowing reliably into our bronze layer. Awesome. Now let's look at the tools that automate the rest of the journey, from bronze to silver and from silver to gold. This is where the modern toolkit really starts to shine. The tool that powers this whole transformation is called Delta Live Tables, or DLT, and it completely flips the script on how you build data pipelines. Instead of writing tons of complex code to manage every little step, you simply declare what you want the final outcome to be.
Yeah, this quote just hits the nail on the head. You stop being a micromanager, telling the system every single move to make. Instead, you get to be the director. You just describe the final scene you want, and you let the system figure out the best, most efficient way to make it happen.
Look, the difference is actually really simple. The old procedural way, that was like writing a super detailed step-by-step recipe for a chef. The new declarative DLT way is way more like just ordering a pizza. You don't care how they mix the dough or slice the pepperoni, you just define the outcome. A large pepperoni pizza, please. This approach saves a massive amount of time and complexity.
So we've used autoloader and DLT to forge our raw data into pure gold. But this super valuable asset is pretty much useless if it's not governed, secure, and easy for the right people to get to. So let's look at how we manage and share it.
The brain of the entire governance system is Unity Catalog. Just think of it as the single source of truth for who can access what, across all of your data and even your AI models. It's one central place to define and enforce all your security and governance rules.
And it works on this simple but really powerful hierarchical model. You can grant access to an entire catalog, let's say sales, and those permissions just automatically flow down to all the schemas and tables inside of it.
This makes managing permissions incredibly intuitive and easy to scale.
Now for the final piece of the puzzle, sharing our gold with partners or customers. And oh man, the old way was just terrible. Making insecure copies and sending them over FTP or email, the data was immediately out of date and you lost all control. Delta sharing completely changes this entire paradigm.
The absolute key here, and you can see it's the biggest piece of the pie, is zero data movement. You never actually send a copy. Instead, you're granting secure, live, read-only access directly to your tables. This means the data is always current, governance stays centralized with you, and you can revoke access at any time. It's all the benefits of sharing with none of the risk.
And when you take a step back, all of this, the ingestion, the transformation, the governance, and the sharing, it all leads back to this one single powerful idea. The magic of the Lakehouse is having just one platform, one place to manage the entire data lifecycle, which just gets rid of all the complexity and silos of the past.
Ultimately, this isn't just about better technology. It's about empowering people with trusted, intelligent data they can actually use. And that leaves us with a pretty fascinating question to think about. When you remove all that friction and turn data chaos into a reliable asset, what are the truly groundbreaking problems we're going to be able to solve next?